The wandering businessman cat Theo actually exposed the scandal in front of everyone. Confessed. Himself and Iona, the president of the Sorcerers Guild. There is a very special relationship. Hearing this, everyone was shocked by Theo's words. Is this news that even Arca himself doesn't know? Theo was puzzled by this. That's just a little thing. Why is everyone so panicked? The simple Theo just thinks that he is a subordinate of Park Sejun. And Iona also kowtowed to her boss Sejun to show her submission. So he thinks that his relationship with Iona is very special. There's no problem. Come to think of it, Theo spoke confidently again. Iona was very close to him. Suddenly, the tent was slammed open by a figure. I saw that Iona was very angry and told Theo not to talk nonsense. This will cause misunderstanding. But it was clear that Theo didn't understand the misunderstanding. But the good news is, Theo and Elka finally appear through Iona, entered the tribe of the lizard men. At this time, the yurt was filled with tribal generals, large and small. They were just discussing how to respond to the next attack of the Red Locust Army. Iona then told Theo, if you want to collect the balance of the bladed green onions. Probably not right now. Theo interrupted Iona. Told Iona. This time it's because Elka and their Silver Wolf tribe came over. The contract of the Lizardman and the Silver Wolf. Obviously, he only agreed to help dispose of the locust corpses. But they are now also tasked with helping to restore the land. Isn't it a bit excessive? Hearing this, Iona turned to ask the lizardfolk leader Toro. He stayed on the battlefield. Didn't know about it. Seeing this, Toro, the leader of the lizardmen, panicked and explained to Iona. Because all the members of their tribe are busy coping. The invasion of the army of red fire locusts. We're dealing with the aftermath of the battlefield. I can only ask the Silver Wolf tribe. They hear this. Theo told Toro very deeply. Their tribe has to pay a price for it. How dare you ignore my existence? Directly call my subordinates. You have to pay 1 tail coin for each Silver Wolf. A total of 100 pieces. Pay it off immediately. Hear the beat of the RA7. He didn't expect that. The wandering merchant cat in front of him dared to be so bold and arrogant. Just when the atmosphere became tense, Iona hurriedly told Toro to calm down. Because Theo is a subordinate of Lord Black Dragon. No, let's start with the reason why we were able to resist the invasion of the Red Locust Army. It's all because of the bladed green onions that Lord Black Dragon created for us. The words just fell. Theo took Iona's words. Well, he's right. I am none other than Lord Black Dragon's subordinate. If you don't pay for it, I don't guarantee the safety here. Listen to the lizardman leader fall off. Trembling with anger, even the little brother on the side hurriedly stepped forward to persuade the boss to deal with it calmly. It didn't take long for Toro to figure out the best way to deal with the matter. The situation is stronger than the man. Had to give in. In the end, the lizardman warrior was still obedient. He bowed his head to Theo, the profiteer. Soon after, Io sighed and Theo Arca walked out of the tribe. Theo, who got a good pay, was of course happy. Theo then handed Alka a bag full of tartars. Elka can be a subordinate. He didn't understand Theo's careful thinking. He hurriedly rejected Theo's wishes. Elka said, the silver wolves leaning on the carcasses of red locusts. You can get a lot of money. Hearing this, Theo accepted the 100 tower coins without hesitation. If there is anyone who dares to be disrespectful to the subordinates of the Black Dragon, that would be tantamount to disrespecting Lord Black Dragon. She also told Elka. He wasn't extorting money in the name of the Black Dragon. He just felt that the silver wolves couldn't be wronged. Theo also thanked Iona for this. If not for him being on their side, the trip may not have been so smooth. Followed by, Theo then arranged for Elka to take the silver wolves back to the 99th floor. Later, he himself had to go to the 38th floor. Iona was still reminiscing about what had just happened. He knew that the lizard folk leader, Toro, was notoriously stingy. And today Theo is under the name of Black Dragon. The story of asking Toro for money. I'm afraid I'll soon make a lot of money in the Black Tower. Although this did not have a good effect on Theo's personal reputation. But this incident is enough to tell everyone. What is his background? That is the great Black Dragon Lord who can define and dominate the Black Tower. Today, the Black Tower has become very corrupt. Food can completely control the rights of this tower. You can't let those guys with no common sense like the Electro King organization control it. Believe that after today, Theo will certainly be closely watched by many organizations in the Black Tower. To think of it, Theo also turned back to say goodbye to Iona. It should be in the near future. They'll meet again. But Iona's mind was entirely on a different picture. He saw a future great wandering merchant on the rise. Congratulations. Successfully upgraded. Messages that pop up one after another. Woke up Sejun from his sleep. He originally just wanted to take a break, but accidentally fell asleep. Look at the scene in front of you. Park Sejun only felt very lucky. Thankfully, with the help of the Minotaurus warriors, his farmland was not attacked by the fallen dryads. The battle was as tough as the climb of Mount Everest. Even though Sejun has the flame giant bear and a king of cattle and horses, the assistance of the two lords. Suddenly, the giant bear handed the stunned dryad to Sejun Baba. As long as the final blow is done by him, you can gain experience for killing monsters. On the other side, just in case, the Minotaurus warriors also cut off the body of the dryad. After the device, I saw Park Sejun walking to the waist of the fallen tree. Take a closer look. That's when he realized that these were the ones that the flame bear had mentioned. A monster in the woods across the fallen realm. The flame bear then said, "This kind of invasion has never been seen before." Recently, however, their incursions have become more frequent. But Sejun's focus is that thing really edible? Alibi. The flame bear also apologizes to Sejun. He believes that his negligence in patrolling led to today's invasion. Hearing this, Park Sejun hurriedly comforted. Flame bear, one person guards such a large territory as cloth. It's already very hard work. How could he still be blamed? With the expansion of the power of the 3 generations of the bee family now, Sejun said that some bees will be arranged to help patrol next. But Park Sejun has another problem. I haven't been able to figure it out. Why the hell are these monsters of the fallen forest here? Soon Administrator Aaron answered the questions of the exam paper. He said that these fallen monsters were like viruses, because no matter how you kill, none of them will extinguish their faith. If a tree with power appears around the forest, whatever the method is used, let them fall. So all the trees on the 99th floor that have magical powers, all infected by the fallen virus. I heard that there are no polluted objects around. They will fall into a deep sleep. But what caused the fallen dryads to wake up? The administrators themselves have not figured it out. When Yin Shijun fell into deep thought, could it be because he built a wooden house here? To think of it, an untimely voice rang out. It seems that this battle did consume a lot of his physical strength. After hearing this, the giant bear hurriedly came over. Is Baba ready to eat now? It's time to prepare to fulfill the feast promised at the time of battle. Process made. The screen turns. A delicious pot of fried piranha is freshly baked. At this time, Nyoair and they were also waiting for food outside the door. Soon all the food to be made was baked. The favorite of the Minotaurus warriors is, of course, fresh green onions. Occasionally, you can add a little grilled piranha to add flavor. The rabbit's food will be more varied. Sweet potato lobster, branches, dry corn eel, etc. All of today's food is a treat for everyone. Delicious green onions are always the first choice of beefer. However, some people sprinkle dog food in public. The king of cattle and horses also put down his lofty posture. Enjoy the food. It was a taste he had never felt in his life. The sweetness of the honey and sourness of the tomato are perfectly combined. Admin Aaron on the other side. It was also natural to participate in this food party. After all, his urgent notice was the key to victory. That's when it happened. Giant Bear tells Baba Sejun. His mother didn't seem to be fed. Seeing this, Sejun hurriedly walked over. Good news for the Flame Bear. Look at what I've got in store for you. It turned out that Elka, the leader of the Silver Wolf tribe, had returned. He also carried countless red locust corpses behind him. Look at the abundance of protein. The Flame Bear's eyes glowed golden. He couldn't help but drool with satisfaction over this. Then the Flame Bear feasted on the red locusts. Suddenly there was an exclamation. Interrupted this beautiful moment. I saw the mother rabbit fall to her knees. His expression was very uncomfortable. Mother rabbit holding her belly. Intermittent representation. Maybe something's going to happen to the child. Hearing this, Park Sejun was so frightened that his soul almost flew out. The next part of the process. Kinga won't describe it to everyone, because the matter is urgent. Mother rabbit, she can only temporarily borrow Sejun's house for childbirth, because it's not the first time to have a baby rabbit. So the whole process went smoothly. The moment the doors opened, only the bear and the arca were seen. Their eyes are both helpless and longing, because it's the first time they've seen a rabbit give birth. 3 more bunnies were born today. All the members of the dungeon witnessed the process. 3 little rabbits were lying quietly on top of the white cloth. What's next in the dungeon will be an interesting story. Your one-click triple is the greatest help to Brother Tion. This is the Red Flame Mountain on the 52nd floor of the Black Tower. It is also the place where the strongest human being almost fell. I saw the Flame Lord smile crookedly. Opens the max taunt skill. I didn't expect you to be a weak human. He hasn't been killed by the curse of fire yet. Hearing this, the man was not to be outdone and responded to the other party. You've lived by one eye for the past few years. I guess I'm not used to it. Hearing this, the Flame Lord immediately burst into a rage. It can well be imagined. His eyes were pierced blind by the other party. Immediately, the Flame Lord erupted with a powerful momentum. Directly shattered the ground. That's right. He's going to use the same trick to deal with the man in front of him again. But the man at this time was not panicked at all. She wouldn't be afraid of the other party's flame curse anymore this time. She's a man with a flaming sweet potato now. Alibi. Han Taejun ate the sun's sweet potato. Immediately, an even more powerful realm unfolded within him, directly blocked all the attacks of the Flame Lord. After looking at the man who was safe and sound, the lords are all in a circle. I didn't expect to see each other for a few years. Her attack was no longer a threat to the man in front of her. I saw Han Taejun at a very fast speed, rushing towards the Flame Lord. Seeing this, the Flame Lord hurriedly raised his hand to release his most proud skill. He wouldn't be deterred by that. Suddenly, a storm and heat wave appeared out of thin air. But Han Taejun's footsteps did not stop there. She didn't think about dodging the attack. The magma-like heat wave swallowed the man in an instant. Seeing this, the Flame Lord burst into laughter. I didn't expect to see it for many years. This weak human is still so vulnerable. However, a figure appeared. He ruthlessly interrupted his closing speech. Obviously, Flame Lord's skill. It doesn't hurt the man in the slightest. But the proud lord still felt that this was impossible. Immediately, two huge flame pig trotters clung to Han Taejun. The Sapphire skill has no effect on men. The Flame Lord thought of sending him to heaven by brute force. However, Han Taejun, who was tightly grasped at this time, still as calm as ever. He told the Flame Lord. He may have forgotten a more important circumstance. Han Taejun, he's a magician. Immediately, a ray of light unfolded from the man's body. Suddenly, the Flame Lord's heart felt a strong sense of unease. She really got it from the man this time. I felt threatened by my life. I saw that after the appearance of a bright light. The Flame Lord's voice also stopped abruptly. The screen turns. The Flame Lord, who had been arrogant before, had fallen to the ground, unconscious, as the so-called villains generally die from talking too much. This statement is still true. Congratulations. Successfully defeated the Lord Monster on 52nd floor. The burning flame curse has been successfully lifted. The earth burned by the curse of fire is recovering. With the end of the Flame Lord, the curse in Han Taejun's body is dissipating. Immediately, the man pulled out a flaming sweet potato. If there is no flame sweet potato, he really wasn't sure how to destroy the Flame Lord. Suddenly, a figure jumped out of the way. He was also shouting why he was on the ground for a second under the long grass. Han Taejun and Theo made eye contact. He was quickly recognizable by his disguise. This is the legendary wandering merchant cat Theo. Theo, however, didn't know who the man in front of him was, but she saw something familiar to her. Then she angrily scolded the man. She sold the flame sweet potato to Kim Dongji with her own hands. How could it appear in the hands of this man? Hearing this, Han Taejun looked at the flame sweet potato in his hand and smiled faintly. It turns out that this treasure was sold by Theo to Dong Sik. After half ring, Theo figured out the ins and outs. It turns out that this man is Jingdong's teacher. Jingdongji was willing to give such a precious thing to the teacher. That's great, isn't it? Immediately, Han Taejun told Theo. Because of his flame sweet potato, he lifted the curse of the flames. She owes Theo a favor. I will definitely repay it in the future. Hearing this, Theo decisively asked the man to repay the favor now. This sudden answer made Han Taejun stunned. Then Theo opened his mouth. Let the man sign an employment contract with her. He knew that the signing of the contract in the Black Tower was protected by the system. He certainly couldn't have been dominated by a wandering merchant cat. Hearing this, Theo hurriedly pounced on the man. She couldn't afford to let go of this opportunity. The scene where Han Taejun singled out the Flame Lord just now, he could see it clearly. Once there were such strong human beings. When he was subordinate Theo, he can walk sideways in the Black Tower. Immediately, Han Taejun made another suggestion. He thought it would be nice to have friends between them. If something happens, he'll help as a friend. Is it okay to promise anything? Case. I'll just promise you, my friend. Then you can come with me to the 38th floor of the Black Tower now. The screen turns. Come to the 99th floor of the Black Tower to Trijun's house. Looks like he's getting his lunch ready. Watch the steaming vegetable red broth. Sejun smiled with satisfaction. Then he asked the rabbit beside him. This was cooked continuously for 12 hours. I think it's ready to eat. That's right, Park Sejun. He is actually not very proficient in cooking, but he still made a delicacy for the rabbits with red locusts. Sejun. He watched the monsters eat the locusts and ate them with relish. For the taste of it, he wanted to taste it too. Finally, the steamed red locust vegetable soup is complete. You are the first person to mix steamed locusts in the Black Tower. Your culinary skills have reached level 3. This is Park Sejun. After he removed the hard shell from the outside of the red locust, then it is steamed over high heat for dozens of hours to get a delicacy. Immediately, Park Sejun couldn't wait to pick up the locust meat and began to gnaw on it. But he soon realized that something was wrong. This locust meat is too strong, isn't it? Then he gritted his teeth. I used my strength to feed. He didn't believe he couldn't bite it. Just listen to the bang. Sejun did bite the meat open. but his skull cap also seems to be open. Suddenly, a system message popped up. Successfully ate the flesh of the red locust. But it contains a lot of toxins. Level 1 neurotoxin poisoning. You have successfully detoxified. Fortunately, Park Sejun put detoxified green onions in the vegetable soup. But this poisonous red locust how bears. They're fine when they eat it. Followed by, Park Sejun served the locust vegetable soup to the rabbits. Because the mother rabbit has just gone through childbirth. The body is still very weak. Now's the time to replenish well. Looking at the food handed over by Sejun, Daddy Bunny and Mother Bunny expressed their gratitude. Red locust vegetable soup. He was the first in the Black Tower to craft battle food. People in vegetable soup with red locusts. Thinly sliced red locust meat, plus detoxifying green onions and string potatoes. After a long period of cooking, harmonious mixing of all materials, the effect has increased. The detoxified green onions neutralize the toxins in the locust flesh. As a result, the meat becomes softer. Feeding power increased by 5.1 in 30 minutes. Level 2 cooking increases strength by 0.1. The battle food effect keeps you feeling full for 3 hours. Chef Black Tower Farmer Parky Eye. The shelf life is 30 days. The grade is C expedited. The screen turns. Everyone is also lining up to enjoy today's food. Sejun, who is a chef, is also trying it for the first time. But after taking the first bite, he jerked to his feet. Giant Bear hurriedly asks Baba what happened. I saw Park Sejun pointing to the red meat and vegetable soup in his hand. Speechless in shock. It's a taste he's very familiar with. The delicious chicken broth is just that. Hearing this, the giant bear asks Baba Chicken what it is. Hearing this, Sejun stroked the bear's head fiercely. Looks like they don't have any chicken in the Black Tower. The man drank the locust vegetable soup from the bowl. She experienced the taste of chicken that she hadn't seen for a long time. After a while, the man and the rabbits had finished the soup. The effect of the soup, lasting 3 hours of satiety, is immediately effective. But the man Park Sejun always felt that something was wrong. She seems to have forgotten something very important. Suddenly, a message from the Black Tower system popped up. Administrator Aaron said, "You're finally remembering me." On the other side, Aaron looked at Park Sejun of the crystal ball with disdain. Apparently he was very unhappy with Park Sejun's eating alone. Seeing this, Park Sejun snorted at Aaron again and again. He had forgotten about Irene's share. Administrator Aaron is very angry with Sejun's performance. He not only moved the rescue soldiers for Park Sejun's vegetable garden, he was also rewarded for his contribution to the eradication of the red locust, but was reciprocated by the other party. Thinking of this, Aaron was uncomfortable and cried. Park Sejun was taken aback by Aaron's sudden emotion. She didn't expect things to get so bad. Immediately, Park Sejun hurriedly told Aaron. It was she who misunderstood all this. He actually wanted to cook a soup for Aaron alone. Aaron hurriedly took back the small pearl in her eye socket. Could it be that Sejun really prepared exclusive food for her? Seeing that the other party's mood has stabilized, Park Sejun hurriedly continued to explain. He was taking into account that there were too many toxins in the locust bodies. That's why I didn't give them to Aaron. Park Sejun. But you really have the administrator in mind. After listening to Sejun's words, Aaron was stunned. The next second, Aaron smiled. Didn't expect Park Sejun to really care about him. Look at each other's busy figures in the kitchen. Aaron put down the crystal ball in her hand. Then he lay down in a very comfortable position. Aaron told Park Sejun. He'll be waiting for the food to finish. The Black Tower administrator tells you. He'd keep his eyes open and wait to see the news. Park Sejun's face darkened. If you don't do it well, he's really going to be finished. The screen turns. All the ingredients are ready. After 15 minutes of cooking for 773, the food for Aaron, the administrator, is finally complete. That's what it tastes like. A large pot of sweet tomato locust soup is baked. Congratulations, completed inside the Black Tower. The first achievement to make magic tomato red broth. Level 3 culinary skills proficiency has been greatly improved. Soup of fighting grain tomato red locust has been registered in the recipe. Put in the red locusts that are cut into thin slices. Add detoxified green onions and drink magic tomatoes. After a long period of cooking, all the materials come together. There will be a slight improvement in taste, because considering the reason why Aaron likes magic tomatoes, Sejun replaced the original potato position. Just as Park Sejun handed the soup to Aaron, it was rejected by the other party. It turned out that Aaron wanted all the tomato red broth in the pot. Soon a large pot of tomato locust soup came to Aaron's hands. The fragrant tomato soup made Aaron very excited. I saw that he couldn't wait to put it in his mouth and taste it. The next second, Aaron's eyes widened like brass bells. Then he poured the soup in his hand into his mouth. The new gastronomic experience made her wagging her tail. It was the best thing he had ever eaten in his dragon life. You have ingested a certain amount of battle food. Tomato locust soup. Within 30 minutes, Your mana has increased by 7. 1. Satiety will last for 3 hours. After drinking the thick soup, Erin covered her head and sat down. Use baby tomatoes instead of potatoes. Sure enough, it's the best choice. His dragon's heart had been calm since the beginning. It must be because of the reason why food provides magic to the body. Seeing that Erin took the food, he didn't move. Park Sejun hurriedly asked about the situation on his side. It couldn't be that tomato soup didn't suit his appetite. Administrator Irene. She said she was well fed. The taste of the food was very good. Hearing this, Park Sejun was relieved. He was still sorry for his negligence to Erin just now. It's also because he tasted the taste of chicken that he hadn't seen for a long time. That's what happened. For atonement, Sejun took out a large stack of dried sweet potatoes and handed it to Erin. He had just made a special trip to the dungeon to get it. Unexpectedly, Erin also began to apologize in the next second. She was also so excited. Did not reply to Park Sejun's message. Hearing this, Park Sejun also began to confess affectionately. The reason why he has been able to survive in the Black Tower until now. It's all thanks to the caregiver Erin who takes care of him. Administrator Erin's old face flushed. Then he clenched his fists. It seems that a decision has been made silently. Immediately, a new message popped up in front of Sejun's eyes. It turned out that Erin had issued him a quest. Notice, the content is to ask the administrator Erin to eat dried sweet potatoes. The quest reward is one that can be obtained in order to read the message. Park Sejun secretly rejoiced. Talent attribute in the Black Tower. But it takes a lot of effort on the part of the Awakened to get it. And Erin told Park Sejun. It took him a bit of effort to get it. It is also because he deserves a reward for his credit in cleaning up the locusts. Immediately, the dried sweet potato in Park Sejun's hand began to teleport. Congratulations on completing a mission. You've been rewarded with a mission. Light up a talent. In order for the landlord to successfully activate the talent. Ender, an acquired talent that only a farmer with a vast farm can have. Tenant farmers can appoint up to 30 electric farmers. You can use the landlord's professional skills. Electric farmers use the skills of landlords. The landlord receives a 1% compensation. The bigger the farm, the bigger the talent. After reading the introduction of the talent named Landlord, Park Sejun couldn't wait to put the giant bear playing on the side. Shouted. Then he opened his list of electric farmers. Alibi. Sejun dragged the words list number 1 to the top of the giant bear's head. Then the system came with the news of the successful binding of electric farmers. It's time to test the role of landlord talent. Immediately, Park Sejun asked the giant bear with a wicked smile. He had to get to the tomato field as soon as he could. He asked the bear to go there and help him pick 100 magic tomatoes. Back. Just listen to the bang. The bear was gone. A few seconds later, Park Sejun received a series of experience tips. It's all because the bear, who is an electric farmer, picks magic tomatoes. Although this is only 1% experience compensation. But this is for Park Sejun, who owns countless hectares of farmland. Undoubtedly, it is also good news. And he was able to keep expanding his farm to increase the percentage of experience gained in order to gain experience. Come to think of it, Park Sejun was suddenly full of motivation. Then he found the rabbits who were resting. Park Sejun tells the rabbits to prepare. He's going to get ready to expand the field of farmland. However, the warrior black rabbit reluctantly said, he just wants to rest now. After all, when you are full, you'll unconsciously get sleepy. Hearing this, Park Sejun used lightning speed. Tying the warrior black rabbit to the number 2 electric. Only the warrior who looked at the black line above his head was left with black soil. Soon everyone was rushed to work by Park Sejun. If you feel sleepy, you should work harder. After all, when you're full, you sleep. That's what only cows do. The screen turns. Come to the endless tomato fields. Suddenly, a mysterious figure appeared. Dozens of fallen dryads have appeared here. Could it be that this time they are making a comeback? I am the greatest invention in the Black Tower. Just use it gently. It can be turned into a bomb as powerful as a missile. Park Sejun's vegetable garden. Once again, it was invaded by an army of fallen dryads. But they have learned from the past, and have made it easier for them to deal with it. Especially after knowing that fire is the dryad's weakness. But on the other side, the huge dryad is not so easy to say. At this time, a giant dryad is launching a fierce attack. But it's a pity. He encounters Black Rabbit, a warrior who is full of agility. I saw that the warrior Black Rabbit seized the gap and launched a counterattack. With a single hammer, the limbs of the giant girdle were smashed to pieces. And it's not just the warrior Black Rabbit who fights. Apparently, the Lord-level monster Flame Giant Bear also joined the fight. Just listen to Ludbing. A giant dryad turned into slag. After the investment of Park Sejun's 2 protectors, it is believed that it will not be long before this battle is over. That's when it happened. A dryad scout wants to be the 6th to sneak up on the phage. Thankfully, he had learned the lessons of the previous battles. I didn't dare to let up. In the end, with a blessing of the terrifying combat power of the Flame Giant Bear, the fight ended very easily. It turned out to be after the last battle. Park Sejun made the preparations. Not only did it alleviate the turf battle between the Flame Bear and the King of Cattle and Horses, furnishings were also arranged for the Flame Bear to live near the newly built house. The Flame Giant Bear family naturally gladly accepted Park Sejun's suggestion. With the fall of the last fallen dryad, the Flame Giant Bear also told Sejun about the result of this battle. Park Sejun looked at the wreckage scattered on the battlefield, sighed deeply. Looks like we're going to have to spend time clearing the battlefield again. That's when it happened. Neo-air just took his younger brothers to the vegetable garden to get ready to work. They were all dumbfounded when they saw this. It's because of the constant harassment of these dryads. As a result, the vegetable garden that Park Sejun was planning to expand was all destroyed. Sejun, who was cleaning up, suddenly saw movement on the ground. It turns out that there is a dryad that hasn't completely lost his breath. Seeing this, Park Sejun stepped on it. For these impolite intruders, he didn't have a shred of sympathy. They are a stumbling block in their own upgrades. Come to think of it, Park Sejun gritted his teeth in anger. I can't wait to find the lair of the fallen dryad right away. One pot served. Speech, divided into two ends. The picture comes to the 52nd floor of the Black Tower. I saw the figures of Han Taejun and Theo appearing here. They seem to be looking for something. Suddenly, Theo shouted to stop Han Taejun's footsteps. He told Han Taejun, there is no road ahead. And Theo still has a lot of questions about Han Taejun. For example, how he came to the 50th floor of the Black Tower. You must know that the current human awakened have only conquered the highest 38th floor. Hearing this, Han Taejun told Theo, he came here through Lindagen. This immediately startled Theo twice. You know, Lindagen is the fruit of dimensional fragments. The energy contained in it is very evil. It cannot be used at will. And using this is not a way made in the Black Tower. But it's illegal. Do it. It must be reported to the Channel Management Department in a timely manner. No wonder the teacher Lindagen he used before disappeared. They must have been reported by local residents. After saying that, Han Taejun was very happy. It turned out that he had done exactly what he had done to hide Lindagen. I saw Han Taejun suddenly open the package on the side. A creature that resembles a man-eating flower appeared in front of the two of them. According to the name of the system, this is the legendary Lindagen. Han Taejun said. When he first met him, I was also taken aback by the snake-like appearance of the other party. Then he told Theo, these creatures have a short lifespan. If you don't use it in time, it will wilt. Seeing this, Theo immediately rejected Han Taejun's request to leave. Let him do something illegal. Even if you give him 2 cat strips, it's useless. Just when Theo still wants to make a big splash about his righteous deeds, Han Taejun threw the cat out violently. The next second, a pair of chubby meow hands grabbed the cat strip in the air. Even Theo couldn't control what he was doing subconsciously. It's incredible. Immediately afterwards, Han Taejun took advantage of the situation and got into Lindagen's mouth. This seems to be a hole in dimensional space. As for Theo, is he in those 2 cat strips? Naturally, he was sucked in by Lindagen a long time ago. So where exactly will this dimensional passage lead in the end? Theo could never have imagined that he was actually controlled by 2 cat strips. But Theo, who entered and exited the dimensional passage, only felt a sense of dizziness hit him. He lost consciousness. Screw turned. Came to the Phoenix Guild camp on the 38th floor of the Black Tower. Ding Dong now, who was the captain, immediately attracted by the sound of the jungle on the side. The person who came was actually his teacher Han Taejun. And of course, the orange cat with an unwell-looking face. Theo. The sharp-eyed Jingdong straight. It was discovered that the flame curse on the teacher's body had disappeared. Could it be that the Flame Lord has been destroyed? Hearing this, Han Taejun generously told JD.com. Worth everything he's been through before. This is thanks to the flame sweet potato that helped a lot. However, Theo doesn't seem to have been able to get through the dimensional passage from Linda. Side effects come out. After learning that the teacher Han Taejun was actually abusing Lindagen. Shocked. That's a top-notch item recognized by the state. But Han Taejun didn't care about it. Instead, he turned to look at Theo. Han Taejun told Theo. He used a few Lindagens. Roughly confirmed the 40th to 52nd floors. By asking the local aborigines. Answer was learned. He is the only one awakened outside the tower. Han Taejun has been to these floors alone. So here comes the key question. Your boss, Park Sejun. What floor of the Black Tower is he in now? Hearing this, Theo immediately panicked visibly. The man in front of him has been looking for the trace of the boss Park Sejun. This is something Theo has not thought about. But when the lie is exposed, how will Theo answer Han Taejun's question? Screw turned. Enter the dungeon on the 99th floor of the Black Tower. It's still a peaceful place. The man who was sought out by Han Taejun, picking ripe magic tomatoes. Due to the effect of the skill harvested at level 4, you have harvested a higher grade crop. Your class XP has increased significantly. Now Park Sejun has actually harvested a B-grade magic tomato. This is the cultivation of crops since He harvests the highest grade of crops. Just when the phage was still immersed in joy. Behind him, the urging voice of a white rabbit interrupted his thoughts. Seeing this, Park Sejun had no choice but to quickly pick it up, which was already full of crops. He's going to get the rabbits to move things to the house outside the dungeon. Suddenly, a strange sight catches Sejun's attention. I saw the air inside the dungeon. It seems to be covered with a faint layer of fog. It reminded him of what the dryad had said before he died. That's what he meant here. There doesn't seem anything strange about it. Why are those fallen dryads so attached to this place? Suddenly, the ash scattered under the barbecue grill caught Park Sejun's attention. You must know that from the time he entered the tower to the present, the flames here have never been extinguished. Instead, after a few days in a house outside the dungeon, the flames were extinguished. What the hell is the principle of this? Suddenly, a touch of green emerged from the bottom of the ashes. Got the attention of phages. Could it be that this is the thing I thought? Then he swept away the dust on the side. It turned out that it was actually a newly grown sprout flame. There will be a young shoot at the bottom of the ashes. That's what happened. A voice rang in Park Sejun's head. This sudden sound really scared him a lot. Immediately afterwards, an ethereal figure actually walked out of thin air. He told Park Sejun. He had been in the dungeon all along, waiting to be discovered. He turned out to be the seed of an apple tree planted by Park Sejun on the first day. The apple tree seeds that thousands of readers have dreamed of. The mystery is finally revealed. The apple seed turned into a spirit. This is the apple tree that the man planted in the dungeon in the first episode. I didn't expect it to take a year. It actually gave birth to a tree elf. But soon Park Sejun became more and more confused. A tree can speak. It turns out that the spark spirits are through magic. Transmit his consciousness to Park Sejun's mind. And this elf image, it changes according to human preferences. Speaking of which, Spark suddenly became frustrated. He thought his master didn't like it. Park Sejun finally calmed Spark's emotions. But he still wondered about it. At that time, it was just a random apple planted. There is still such a plot. And the spark in Park Sejun's heart was hurt. Hurriedly explained. Not really. When he was still a seed, I felt a lot of enthusiasm. In order to survive, he had put down roots in the ground. Over time, the roots of the tree continue to stretch downward. The space underneath seems to have no end. Suddenly, one day he felt the roots of the tree piercing the rock. Wait for him to peek out, only to find out that there was a source of his life here. With the help of water, he was already able to compete with the heat on the ground. He remained in the dark land. Wait for it to take root. The day I saw the light again. Therefore, I can meet the owner Park Sejun, who cultivated it by himself. Today, Spark has no regrets in his life. After learning all this, Park Sejun suddenly realized. It turned out that he was inadvertently. A campfire was placed on top of the apple sapling. This is why the apple tree has been unable to take root and sprout for a long time. But soon Park Sejun retracted the guilt he felt just now. The apple tree elves after experiencing the baptism of fire. I actually obtained the magic to control the flames. It's no wonder he named himself Spark. A plant that uses fire magic. What kind of plot setting is this? Then a spark was indicated. He only knows these skills now. But after he grew up, I'm sure I'll be able to help the owner listen more. Park Sejun looked at the other party's well-behaved and cute face. I couldn't help but stretch out my hand. The sparks must have suffered a lot underground. You don't have to push yourself too hard. All you have to do is grow up healthy and healthy. I'm satisfied. This day is the happiest day for the apple tree Spark. He enjoyed his time with his owner, Park Sejun. But there was a secret he didn't tell Park Sejun. Ow. And it's going on and on. But remember to keep it a secret for me. This is the residence of the human awoken on the 39th floor of the Black Tower. Theo, a wandering trader, is going through the most stressful moment of cat life. The strongest awakened person, Han Taejun, has come to a conclusion after reasoning. Park Sejun has not appeared on floors below the 52nd floor. Hearing this, Jingdong remembered what Theo had told him. Park Sejun once saved his life on the 40th floor of the Black Tower. It was clear that Theo had lied to them. Immediately, Theo visibly panicked. He said hesitantly, and they can't tell the whereabouts of their boss Park Sejun. Seeing this, Han Taejun did not continue to force Theo to answer. Instead, he explained to Theo. Park Sejun's current identity is very important outside the tower. As for the reason why Park Sejun did not show up for a long time, it's a problem that needs help. Or is there something else going on? So Theo, you think about the happiness of mankind. Please let us know Park Sejun's whereabouts. I saw that I couldn't hide it anymore. Theo had no choice but to untie the bag behind his back, because he thought of another way to solve this matter. He immediately said to Han Taejun, "You must first sign a confidentiality contract with him." Contract statement. Han Taejun's communication with Theo must be truthful and confidential throughout the process. If it is against the law, It costs lives. Hearing this, Jingdong on the side still wanted to stop it. Unexpectedly, Han Taejun decisively responded to all of Theo's requests. As a result, JD signed a non-disclosure agreement as a representative. Soon the two and the cat entered the tent where they were stationed. Immediately after the signing of the JD job, it was postponed. Notification of the Black Tower system. It also means that the non-disclosure contract has been successfully signed. Immediately afterwards, Han Taejun took the oath in public. He swore by Hunt's honor. What I saw and heard today was kept absolutely confidential. It seems that he has cheated his own apprentice here. Immediately, Han Taejun asked Theo to inform Park Sejun's current whereabouts. Looked at. Theo had no choice but to tell them. The owner, Park Sejun, is not currently on the 40th floor. As for the specific layer of news, he can't make it public. Because the boss Park Sejun specially instructed him. It can only be said that Sejun is now on the very high floor of the Black Tower. And it's a level that is impossible for humans to reach at the moment. The most critical of these is, he couldn't get down himself. Hearing this, Jingdong's jaw was about to fall in shock. Han Taejun was thoughtful after listening. The screen turns. Theo also said goodbye to JD.com. To Han Taejun too. At this time, Jingdong still couldn't fully understand what Theo said. No, even the strongest wicked. It is also very difficult to teleport through Linda and dimensional items. And Park Sejun, he actually planted crops on such a high floor. It's incredible. After listening to the teacher, Han Taejun directly interrupted Jingdong's words. He told the other party that what Theo said was true. If you have carefully read the detailed description of the sun's sweet potato, you'll find it clearly outlined. They received the sun's rays at the highest point of the Black Tower. Where do you think the highest point in the Black Tower will be? Hearing this, Jingdong exclaimed in surprise. It can't be. You're right. Although I don't know what the reason is. Park Sejun. It seems that he is now on the 99th floor of the Black Tower. At the same time, the Black Tower is 99 floors. Park Sejun felt in a trance that someone was talking about him behind his back at this time. Screen turned. Come to the village of Glenier, the hometown of Theo the wandering trader. This is the residence of Isla, the richest man in the village. At this time, an old man muttered. News of the recent invasion of the 67-layer Red Locust army. He expects another food crisis in the future. But apparently no one was listening to him. Recently, there has been a situation where grain prices have risen 2 or 3 times in succession. It's already an early warning. However, on the side, the voices of Oren and his little girlfriend did not stop at all. Suddenly, Isla jumped up from his seat. He angrily rebuked his son. It's just about romance. Saying love doesn't care at all about everything he says. Seeing this, Oren disdainfully put on an indifferent appearance. He considers his family to be the richest man in the village. Don't worry about these things. Immediately, Oren turned his head to comfort his newly frightened girlfriend. For the behavior of his son, Oren, Isla was speechless. Then he yelled at Oren. If you don't go to the merchant right away and buy food, I'm going to break away from you right away. The next second, Oren was thrown out of the house by his old father. Isla couldn't stand it in the end. His own idol loser. However, at this time, Oren was still scolding his father. Borrow the topic to play. It's just a matter of buying a little food. What's so hard about that? You know he's Oren. Then he took his servant and went to the merchant in a rage. But at this time, a familiar figure appeared. He's actually the goblin profiteer Scalium. This is the grain trading area on the 75th floor of the Black Tower. The invasion of the army of Red Locusts. The repercussions have spilled over here. Residents who want to buy food. All were frightened by the sudden price increase. And the rich second generation who was kicked out to buy food in the last episode. Oren was even more miserable. He didn't expect the price of grain to rise wildly in just a few days. The servant on the side hurriedly explained. This may be because of the war. Because the merchants did not put grain into the market. Oren muttered viciously. It's all the blame on these wandering merchants. Suddenly, his nimble head melon thought of a solution to this problem. It seems that he can bypass the market. Go directly to the food production area to buy. But the premise is that you have to become a wandering merchant first. Come to think of it, Oren decisively told the servants on the side. He is now going to the Chamber of Commerce to register as a wandering merchant. Oren even asked his servants to register as merchants, so that they can buy 2 to 3 times as much food to go home. Let that old man be impeccable in our performance. As soon as the words were finished, Oren can already fantasize about his future achievements. He is confident in his skills in negotiating deals. Just as Oren was immersed in his own world, an untimely voice rang out. Scarium, a profiteer who had been hiding on the sidelines, finally appeared. He took Oren's chatterbox, hurriedly asked the other party if he wanted to become a wandering businessman. After receiving an affirmative answer, Scarium told Oren. He just happened to have some very valuable props here. They are the props that exist outside the tower. And it's a precious item that you can't find anywhere else. but we vaguely remember these so-called props. It's just an ordinary prop outside the tower. It seems that Oron is going to walk into the big hole that Theo once stepped on this time. Screw turns. Come to the other side of the bazaar. Theo happened to pass by on his way back. He wants to help his boss Park Sejun purchase some needed supplies. Suddenly, a stall on the side caught his attention. Theo sensed that there was a weapon that attracted him here. It seems that his passive skill, Treasure Hunt, was activated on its own. However, at this time, a malicious voice rang out from behind Theo. It was Oron and his minions. He immediately turned on the taunt when he found Theo. Wait for Theo to see who is coming. That's when he reacted. It seems that the fear in Oron's bones still had a great impact back then. And how can this guy have one on his chest? Junior Wandering Trader Badge. Theo asks when he is registered as a wandering trader. The words, Oron told Theo unabashedly. He'd learned from the goblins about each other. No see for so long. I didn't expect Theo to become the ultimate wandering merchant. After speaking, Oron still spouted trash words at Theo from time to time. Suddenly, Oron jerked up, asked Theo in a very eerie tone. How much money was made from those props outside the tower? Tully hears this. Theo immediately became very serious. He told Oron that Goblin Kalam was a profiteer entirely. It's a badass worse than you. The so-called props outside the tower are worthless. After saying that, he asked Oron to quickly take out the props and destroy them. However, Oron opened Theo's hand at the top of his hand. He confidently felt that Theo was deliberately blocking his financial path. Didn't expect Theo. You're trying to get the props outside the Tower of Skalam. Actually made up such a ridiculous lie. Hearing this, Theo hurriedly explained to the other party again. It's really a scam. But Oron didn't want to listen to Theo's nonsense anymore. He thought Theo was still the same. The panda who chased a woman with vulgar words. Even his beloved woman, Marilyn, was taken away by herself. The stupid man sighed deeply helplessly after hearing this. Then he asked Marilyn lightly how she was doing. Hearing this, Oron waved his hand disdainfully. He told Theo, on the day he left, I dumped Marilyn myself. Listened to Theo like a passerby. He patted Oron lightly on the shoulder and said, Marilyn has always been fickle. Don't take it personally. This sudden word, it can make Oron angry half dead. Immediately reacted, bounced off Theo's palm. Theo, what is your identity? Dare to hook up with me. Immediately after that, Oron threatened. He's going to put these things out of the tower. Sold to the king of cattle and horses on the 99th floor. Listen others. He liked the props outside the tower the most. Just get in touch with the strongest person in the Black Tower. The future of him Oron is bright. With that, Oron walked away with his servant proudly. Only Theo, who was surrounded by cold wind, was left alone. After all, in his heart, a dumb guy like Theo can't do what he says. However, Theo, who looked at Oron's figure, silently raised his hand. It seems that there will be a good show someday in the future. Thousands of terrifying fallen dryads appeared outside the prison. A trilogy battle between Park Sejun and the dryads is about to be ushered in here. After summarizing the previous experience, Park Sejun has a guess about the motives of the dryads. It's likely that they're coming for the Apple Tree Elf Spark Tower. Come to think of it, Park Sejun took the lead in picking up a bowl of red soup. This is the supply he has prepared for the warriors who are about to fight. You absorb a certain amount of battle food. Red locust soup. Within 30 minutes, your strength is increased by 7.1. Your fullness will last for 3 hours. Park Sejun, after drinking the thick soup, with a flick of his hand, he handed the bowl to the queen of the bees. The next thing to do is to prepare for the hard cap. With the output of the terrifying firepower of the flame bear, leave it to Park Sejun. They're smaller, scout-type fallen dryads. For them, it's only a matter of time before we win this battle. Suddenly, a large fallen dryad fell violently beside Park Sejun. Immediately, a tentacle drilled out at a rapid speed. This directly caught the bacteriophage with the lowest combat effectiveness by surprise. It's at this critical juncture. A handsome figure appeared from the sky, helped Park Sejun out of the siege. It turned out to be Theo, a wandering merchant, just returned to the dungeon. Immediately Theo went crazy. A strong sense of battle erupted in an instant. I saw that he aimed at just now, the large, corrupted dryad that attacked his boss. In the next second, the dryad's body was sliced to pieces. With Theo's figure landing, the sound of countless pieces of wood falling was endless. See this scene. Park Sejun of Da was still immersed in Theo's powerful combat power for a long time. Able self, but Theo just wanted to know what these monsters were all about. Dare to make trouble on his turf. Through the words, Park Sejun hurriedly took the recent dryad invasion and told Theo about the discovery of the apple tree. But obviously, Theo wouldn't know what his boss was talking about for a while. That's when it happened. A small dryad wants to take advantage of the mess to sneak attack. Seeing this, Theolisa stepped forward and dropped the 6th in seconds. It seems that now is not the time for the two of them to make small talk about the past. You have to deal with these monsters first. However, next second, Theo burrowed his head into his package. He also told his boss, Park Sejun, I brought him a new weapon. Hearing this, Park Sejun was stunned. He knew that Theo had the supreme treasure-hunting European aura. Could it be that this new weapon is also an artifact? What immediately catches Sejun's eye is a prop in the shape of an axe. Theo said proudly, this weapon has drawn itself to the past. He should be able to help the boss. Busy. Park Sejun was pleasantly surprised. Looks like Theo has helped him find another treasure this time. Immediately after that, Park Sejun hurriedly summoned the administrator Aaron. Unexpectedly, at this time, Aaron actually replied, I've been keeping an eye on this side of the dungeon. The next step is a familiar one. Hand in the props that Theo bought. The administrator then activates the identification skill on the item. Then, complete the authentication tasks set by the administrator. The last brand new axe fell into Park Sejun's hands. Congratulations on winning the first throwing sook of Saoka-Oda. Exactly this newly identified throwing axe. And what is the magic function? Can it perfectly solve Park Sejun's safety problem? Theo got another artifact for his boss Park Sejun. This is a hand axe called Oda Saoka for throwing purposes. Sure enough, his presentation shows. It has the ability to slash and recycle axes. And in throwing range of 300 meters, it can be recycled every 10 seconds. Park Sejun, who finished reading the introduction, can't wait to try its might. That's when it happened. The warrior Black Rabbit happened to be caught in the gap by the fallen dryad. Seeing this, Park Sejun raised the throwing axe violently. In an instant, the axe was traveling at a speed of 120 miles. Flew towards the fallen dryad. Just listen to the pop. The axe hit the target steadily. With the black tower system popping up, prompts your throwing axe cleave skill to activate. I saw that the fallen dryad, who was hit by the hand axe, quickly cracked. Immediately, his body seemed to be torn in half. This sight stunned the warrior Black Rabbit on the side. Even the flame giant bear family on the other side. They were all attracted by the movement here. Park Sejun is unprecedented. It only took one move to kill the large fallen dryad. Seeing this, the giant bear was immediately full of fighting spirit. He knew that his Baba wasn't just running away anymore. Soon all his fighting spirit was on the dryads. Experienced it, however, after watching himself kill the large dryad in seconds. Park Sejun was also stunned. He didn't expect this throwing axe to be so lethal. But that's for him, the guy at the bottom of the battle line. It's not a bad thing either. Then he ignored the others, grabbed Theo, and kissed him fiercely. But soon someone pulled him back to reality. Another fallen dryad instantly emerged from Sejun's back. However, Park Sejun at this time did not panic at all. I saw that he silently used the recovery skill of throwing Shisuk. Suddenly, Shisuk, who was 10 meters away, seemed to sense the call of his master. Immediately tremble. The next second, he returned to Park Sejun's hand at a fast speed. And the one who wants to sneak up. Coincidentally, it appeared on his way back. Park Sejun and Theo, who were watching this scene, looked at each other and smiled. No matter how many large dryads appear now, they won't be afraid. Immediately, a man and a cat rushed towards the dryad. Immediately, the frightened expression shifted to the dryads' faces. Screw turned. Outside the dungeon has been collected by the minotaurs. A hill-like block of wood. The battle ended so quickly. It was a surprise to everyone. It seems that the plot of the dryad group will be completed in the future. Until Neo Air's voice came from the mouth of the dungeon. Only then did Park Sejun know. The outside of the dungeon has been cleaned up by the minotaurs. Immediately, Park Sejun sat down on the stone tiredly. Only found out now. It turns out that being the main force of the team is so tiring. Then he opened the system interface. He would love to see after this battle how much he earned. Then he looked at his stats panel and laughed. It turned out that before I knew it, I had risen to level 25. And also learned 7 career skills. See here. Even Park Sejun laughed unconsciously. You know, he has nothing. Come to this strange dungeon. Now he has so many skills and attributes. He really wanted to kiss it. Now work yourself. That's when it happened. Aaron took advantage of Park Sejun's inattention. Replied. He wanted to do the same. Wait for Park Sejun to notice. The system panel has long since disappeared into no apparent place. System Administrator Aaron tells you. Nothing. He says there may be an error in your status window. At this time, Park Sejun, who was in the circle, naturally didn't know. This is the quibble of Administrator Irene. He's still thinking. Could it be that he himself was wrong? Theo finally meets up with the new members of the dungeon. He is the apple tree elf Spark. Theo, who saw the elf for the first time, immediately became playful, constantly trying to touch the Spark's body with her meow claws. However, this angered the hot-tempered Spark. I saw a burst of fire shoot at Theo. I learned that I seemed to be playing with fire. Theo quickly apologized. He just wanted to see if he really couldn't touch the elves. Immediately, Theo came out of the package very naturally. Took out a fresh piranha. Because no one gave him the reason to grill fish. Now you can only rely on the ability of the spark. I saw a sparkling finger lightly. A cluster of fire flew out. And the piranha that came into contact with it was instantly enveloped in flames. After half ring, Theo sat on the ground and ate grilled fish. His mouth kept praising Spark's ability. And Park Sejun, who saw the movement on the side, hurriedly walked over. Let Theo be careful of being burned by sparks. After learning that the other party was not bullied by sparks. Only then did Park Sejun put his mind at ease. That's when it happened. The system sound rang again. Your Straw Hat's cooldown time to promote both growth is over. Seeing this, Park Sejun suddenly had a brilliant idea in his heart. Then he crouched down, asked Spark if he can use growth-promoting skills on him. But Spark refused. He told Park Sejun, this is a very valuable planting skill. Park Sejun told Spark, he's growing up too slowly. You have to be healthy and grow up fast to repay his favor. Hearing this, he no longer shirked Park Sejun's request. Immediately, Park Sejun reached out to the apple tree sapling. Just a hiss. He chose to use half of the growth-boosting power. See how it works. However, the next second, the system message popped up again. The administrator told Park Sejun, the potential of apple trees is enormous. Only use all of its growth-boosting power on it. Immediately, countless golden rays of light poured out from Park Sejun's body. The apple tree saplings are like gluttonous beasts, greedily devouring the energy of the power that promotes growth. At that moment, Park Sejun suddenly panicked. He seemed to feel it. The little bit of magic in me is going to be sucked clean. The good news is that sharpness comes to an abrupt end at this point. But the apple tree saplings also look like they've only grown a little bit. And suddenly, Park Sejun's whole body was weak. He slumped to the ground. It was as if he had been drained of all his body's energy by an apple tree. See the spark of this scene. I suddenly felt very guilty. Park Sejun hurriedly explained. Probably a battle just experienced. So the reason for the weakness of the body is some. Hearing the spark of strength is indicated. It can help Sejun reduce some of his physical fatigue. The words just fell. It was Sejun's turn to be dumbfounded. He knew that sparks only had the ability to control fire. And how can you help him reduce his fatigue? I saw the 10 fingers of the spark elf clasped tightly in front of his chest. A blue energy crept from the apple tree. Saplings popped up. With the sparkle of the hands guided, the blue energy slowly drifted to Park Sejun's side. Suddenly, Park Sejun panicked. He also thought it was the flame effect of the fireworks. However, Park Sejun, who is gradually wrapped in blue energy. Suddenly I noticed that something's wrong. These white flames were able to make his body lighter. It's just amazing. Immediately after that, I learned from the system message. This energy is called the flame of evolution. It will continue to penetrate the body for 3 hours. And the purified body will improve. Seeing this, Park Sejun immediately asked Spark, does he have any other abilities backslash? Hearing the Spark, he said, in addition to these 2 flames, he will now also use an ability called Affinity Flame. Boss, it's just the ability to be controlled or strengthened at will. The ability to fire power. After hearing this, Park Sejun hurriedly confirmed with Spark. Is it possible to acquire this ability yourself? After receiving an affirmative answer, Park Sejun had a bad idea in his heart. It seems that the next time you get into a fight with someone else, you can try the power of this skill. That's when it happened. Theo jerked off Park Sejun's thoughts. He just remembered that there was a very important thing that was not reciprocated. There is a human named Han Taejun. He already knew. But you're no longer on the 40th floor of the Black Tower. Hearing this, Park Sejun was stunned for a moment. Theo, what did you just say? You say my whereabouts are exposed.